Being in school, I was always the odd one out because I was the girl who liked sports. I liked hockey. Being in the room with a group of girls who also liked hockey, there was nothing that could surpass that feeling. Hi, my name is Suzanne Hume. I play hockey for Toronto Leaside Wildcats, senior double B competitive team. I started actually as a figure skater. I hated every moment of it. Hockey became an interest to me. My brother had always played, and I ended up getting involved with a power skating clinic, and from there I got to join a hockey league. A friend of mine in the neighborhood found Leaside Wildcats, which back in the day would have been a high anomaly to have a women's hockey league. A family friend found this league for us. It was 1982. We got into the house league, so I guess it was September of 1982 that I got to lace up and play hockey. The only female coach I ever had was George Armstrong from Toronto Maple Leafs. His daughter, Betty Ann Armstrong, was my only female coach that I ever had. And I'd have to say she was probably the most influential coach that I had because she was female.
Betty Ann Armstrong is the reason the Toronto Leaside Girls Hockey Association exists. In 1974, Betty Ann and a group of friends decided they wanted to play hockey. They rallied up a group of young women and put together two teams, the Lancerettes, which Betty Ann was the captain of, and the Blazerettes. The two teams were inducted into the Leaside Sports Hall of Fame as not only the first two female hockey teams at Leaside, but two of the first in Ontario.
And because of those two teams coming to Leaside to play hockey every week, Leaside exists. I get to play hockey.
The Toronto Leaside Girls Hockey Association celebrated their 50th year anniversary in the 2023 to 2024 season. With players coming from all over the Greater Toronto Area, the Wildcats are currently the largest female hockey association in the world. With over 30 house league and competitive division teams, 14 senior division teams, and the U22 Elite Junior team, the Leaside Girls Hockey Association is committed to make the game accessible and affordable to all families. Every Wildcat player, aged 3 to 65, wears their jersey with pride.
My name is David DeMello, and my relation to the Leaside Wildcats is, one, I'm a big supporter of the organization, have been for many years. I'm involved as a coach, particularly more on the assistant coach side. With 3 daughters playing for the organization, it's tough for me to dedicate coaching just one team and being focused on one daughter. I got to make sure I spread the love. Ultimately, I'm just a girl hockey dad, excited for how the sport is changing and growing with the girls.
My name is Charlotte, and I play for Leaside Wildcats U18 BB. I've been playing hockey for 10 years, I would say, because I started around I was 5, and I started playing hockey because my dad was always big into hockey, and he wanted, I was the firstborn, so I was the oldest, and he wanted me to get put into hockey, so he started me in boys, but then I just didn't like it there, so I switched to girls, and I've liked it ever since.
My name is Simone DeMello, and I play for Leaside Wildcats U15. My dad just put me on skates, and I was like, oh, this is fun, so then I just continued playing, and I really enjoy it now.
My name is Anna Lace, and I play for the Toronto Leaside Wildcats. I started playing hockey because my dad put me in it.
What made me want to put my daughters in hockey was first what I took out of it from when I played, and then just the aspects of life around hockey. You learn the skills. Obviously, playing on a team, you want to be a team player. You're going to go through ups and downs collectively as a team, even as an individual struggling with your games. You want to learn how to recognize, to support each other. And these are just life skills that I think are great to build, especially as you get older and get out of there into the work world. 5 years old is when they started playing somewhat organized hockey. I remember Charlotte starting at an outdoor rink. I love the pictures because it was an outdoor rink, which is pretty cool, but she was so small and petite, the equipment was so big on her, and I can still picture right now in my head the image of her stepping on the ice, full equipment with a stick, and a Detroit Red Wings knitted sweater on. It was amazing. I think about if my daughters could take away a skill, it would be the skill to persevere. Life's full of ups and downs. The game of hockey, any sport is, you're winning, you're losing. You need to be able to persevere through that.
I only stopped playing boys when I was around 6 or 7. I didn't really feel like I was a part of the team as well as I do feel when I play girls, because it's they're all boys and I had to be in a separate dressing room. So it was a lot different, and I was alone getting ready. Sometimes a girl coach would come in or my mom, but that's all I had. I didn't have any of my friends, so I couldn't really form good friendships that I have or that I did while playing girls.
My name is Maddie Pringle, and I play for Leaside Wildcats Senior Double B. The beginning of my grade 7 year, I had joined Leaside Wildcats, and I've been with them ever since then. So,
in order to launch the PWHL as the only professional women's hockey league in North America, the Mark Walter Group purchased the assets of the Premier Hockey Federation, dissolving it in 2023. Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, Boston, New York, and Minnesota became the PWHL Original Six. The first ever PWHL draft was held in September of 2023, where the team rosters were filled with the world's top female hockey players.
what does the PWHL mean to me? I think it's incredible. Like I've said, like just being at the game, watching, kids that I once was, like with the sweaters, I love that. That's so cute. Like you're just representing your team, and you get to be there with all like your best friends, and it really is something that's like you get to experience the whole thing.
If there was professional women's hockey at my 14-year-old self, my life would have been completely different.
There would be a bit more dedication. I know there would be. When you're growing up and you're in high school, especially when I was playing, the only thing you could really do was the Olympics. It was either you played in the Olympics or you maybe played in university.
In February 2020, Canadian Women in Sport, in partnership with Canadian Tire Jumpstart Charities, issued a national rally report on sports participation among Canadian girls. The study revealed that 1 in 3 girls drop out of their sport by late adolescence. Key barriers to participation include low confidence, not feeling welcomed, and a perceived lack of skill.
I actually did quit hockey. I played from the age of 8 up till 14, 15 years old, and at 14, 15, I left the world of hockey because I met a boy. It kind of took away the family need I had of the hockey arena, so I got to spend my family time with the boy at the time. I ended up marrying the boy. I'm still married to the boy. My husband, Scott, we've been together for 32 years now, I think.
The rally report revealed that only 18% of women aged 16 to 63 stay involved in sports.
I think it was 1992. We were watching an Olympic game, and I was in tears watching this game. And at that point, I realized that clearly I wasn't done with hockey. So I ended up finding a way back into the sport in my 30s, and I joined up again. So here I am. I'm 50 now, and I'm still playing hockey. I play on 3 different teams, so hockey is a significant part of my life. And now I couldn't imagine quitting it again.
Can you tell us your name and your relation to the Wildcats?
Yeah, my name is Sarah Hunter. I actually play for the Wildcats as well as coach, and my 3 daughters play for the Wildcats as well. I grew up in a small town named Warkworth, Ontario, just north of the Big Apple off the 401, and had 2 older brothers. So after 1 year of playing ringette, my dad had had enough of that and put me out on the ice with my older brother. So I came to university at U of T, tried out for the team, but at that point had a terrible back injury that kind of plagued me and walked away from hockey for a few years. And it took me about 2 years to find my way back to the rink, and I played competitively up until I had 3 children.
My name is Emily Hunter, and I play for the Leaside Wildcats.
My name is Louise, and I play for U13A.
My name is Allie, and I play for the U11A Leaside Wildcats.
I think I remember my mom saying that I got my first pair of skates when I was 2. So I've just started from then, and I've continued gone up through the levels and just kept playing as I grew older. And my sisters joined too, and now we all play.
I started playing hockey because my older sisters were playing and it looked like a lot of fun.
Well, playing hockey with 2 sisters is Emily, she's kind of something to model off because she's really good and she does all these extra things. And it's nice to have Allie because I've kind of played it so I can help her and tell her what it's kind of like to play that level of hockey.
There's something magical about being sisters in sweat, and that whole idea of how hard they work and how you get bonded through that work ethic and everything that you're trying to accomplish. I got into coaching here at Leaside, and my daughter Emily came out and we were on Team Tyke Red. It was wonderful. And there weren't that many women out on the ice, and Leaside as an organization has really pushed to try to get females out on the ice as role models for these girls. And I really just, as a teacher and as a hockey player, there was no way I could sit on the sideline. And so at first it started because I was determined for there not to be a sea of men out on the rink. They needed to see one woman out there doing what the coaches were asking them to do. And so really it was to try to be that role model. Now they've got women who are 1,000 times more talented than I am to look up to, but I feel like for many years I've done my part.
My name is Kim McCullough. I am the Director of Player and Coach Development at Leaside for the Girls Hockey Association. I think being a female role model is important. I do take that with a lot of pride. I'm one of the few women who actually makes a full-time living coaching in women's hockey. That's not common, and I've been doing that since 2008.
Yeah, so my name is Kristen Della Rovere. I am 23 years old, and I played junior hockey for the Wildcats. So I played for Kim McCullough for the Wildcats for about 3 years. I went to Harvard for my undergrad and played 4 years at Harvard. And then right out of Harvard went and was fortunate enough to play for Ottawa in the PWHL inaugural season. And then this year I've signed a contract in Italy.
Kristen Della Rovere completed a successful 4-year NCAA career with the Harvard Crimson with 122 points in 128 games. She was honored to lead her final season with the Crimson as captain. On Monday, September 18th, 2023, the PWHL draft was held in Toronto, where franchisees could choose from 268 players in a 15-round draft. 90 of the players were dispersed between the 6 teams, with the rest being free agents. PWHL Ottawa chose Della Rovere as their 10th round draft pick, where she would join her best friend Zoe Boyd for the inaugural season.
I actually did not attend the draft in person. My best friend, she got drafted, a few people before me. And so as we were kind of congratulating her, I got a call from my agent who was at the draft being like, "You just got drafted, did you see it?" And I guess that was ahead of the stream that I was watching. And so you kind of feel like all the work that you've put in for a bunch of years is now coming to light. And I don't know if there's really words to describe it. It was just like an overflow of emotion.
Della Rovere played 9 games with PWHL Ottawa, scoring 1 goal against Boston before suffering a season-ending injury.
Well, the development of the PWHL has been awesome for women's hockey. I've been fortunate. I've only ever coached women's hockey, and so I think I coach a little differently because of that. This is all I've done for the last almost 20 years of my life. So I would say it hasn't changed the way I've coached, but definitely the players are engaged differently in the sense that when I was teaching a skill before on the ice, I might say, okay, we're going to do linear crossovers, which is kind of how McDavid gets down the ice. Well, now I can say, okay, Sarah Nurse skates like this, and they actually know who Sarah Nurse is, whereas before, in previous iterations of the league, there was some visibility, but not to the extent there is now. And so to be able to say, Poulin does this or Spooner does this, it really does connect with them. And so I've always tried to do that in my coaching, but I'd say a national team player name and they're like, I don't know who that is. Now they know, and I think that's going to help them on their path getting motivated if that's a level they choose to pursue.
My favorite hockey player is Sarah Nurse, and I look up to her because she's made it so far as a female hockey player, and she's made it to the PWHL, she's made it to Team Canada, and I think she's done really well.
Lining up next to and against Poulin on face-off was insane. You have one of your idols in front of you and you're about to compete against them, and also players you've grown up watching, and players like Brianne Jenner who have been, kind of helped found this league and, put in so much effort and fight for women's hockey and women's sports.
Just seeing the women on the ice with those ponytails, I get chills still. It's just phenomenal to have empowered women playing hockey at a pace of play that is unmatched by anything I've ever experienced in my life. Seeing it up close is mind-blowing. The expressions on the faces, you can really get to see what's going on that ice level, the intensity, women living their dreams. Nothing like it.
Yeah, I went to the Battle of Bay Street.
I went to Battle of Bay Street.
I went to the Battle of Bay Street at Scotiabank Arena.
On Friday, February 16th, 2024, the Professional Women's Hockey League's Battle on Bay Street broke the women's hockey attendance record. PWHL Toronto and Montreal faced off at Scotiabank Arena amidst 19,285 fans. For those who attended the game, the Battle on Bay Street was a night like no other. Being a part of women's hockey history, for some, was a reflection on what could have been, and for others, a spark of motivation for what could be.
To be able to say, at that point we were setting the attendance record, and it was like, okay, I was there in the crowd when this moment in history happened. And for female athletes, that's a huge statement. They had pushed so hard and worked so hard. We had been to CWHL games. Emily's team once went and did the intermission at the Clarkson Cup, probably the last year Toronto won before the CWHL folded. So we'd been there, but the intensity of the Battle of Bay Street was something different. I got a little verklempt. There was maybe a tear or two, right? There were big emotions. It was awesome.
I did go to the one at Scotiabank, which was the big one. I actually went with girls that I grew up playing with, and it was honestly like the best experience. First of all, it was like full circle, completely. All of us were like, this is amazing. Another thing that was so great was watching young girls all in their team sweaters, and they can come to these games and be like, that could be me, that could be my friend, There's a bit more of a support system that you otherwise, we didn't have.
The experience of going, it was honestly so surreal. Like, it was insane to watch so many female players on the ice and then so many females there cheering them on, and it's just insane that it's now a thing.
So it made me inspired to work harder at my practices and in games.
It felt amazing, just to see people that have achieved their dreams, and maybe I can achieve my dream too.
The fan interactions were undescribable. There were a few times we'd be out in public and be recognized by people, or the one moment that really stuck with me is we had a little boy come up to me and a few girls that were at the rink. We're like, oh my God, you guys play for PWHL Ottawa? We're like, yeah. And he was like, that's my favorite hockey team. I love you guys so much. And I think those are certain moments where we know there is more exposure when it comes to younger girls and in female sports, but to have younger boys and little boys also, look up to us and celebrate us is something that I've never experienced. It just gives you so much hope for where hockey will be 10 years down the line and for future generations, which is all, you really want. It's to leave the game better than you found it.
Battle on Bay Street held the women's hockey attendance record for just 2 months. On April 20th, 2024, PWHL Toronto faced off against Montreal once again for duel at the top. This event beat the attendance record with 21,105 fans filling the Bell Centre. These sold-out games illustrate how the Professional Women's Hockey League has made a positive impact on players, coaches, parents, and hockey fans all over the world.
I've been to a number of PWHL games. I was at every playoff game that was in Toronto, and knowing the impact that they have to, again, 14-year-old me and all those young women, young men who are seeing this and seeing empowered women play the game of hockey.
How much has the PWHL impacted my girls? Well, I can tell you my daughter, who's at U15AA, is now, has the gym membership, and when her friends are going to the mall, she's going to the gym to work out. They're out in the backyard together taking shots. There's definitely been a change.
I've kind of realized that I do want to play at the next level, and I want to keep going and be the best I can. So I work out multiple times a week. I do extra stuff on top of team practices because I want to make it and I want to be able to go somewhere in hockey.
Yeah, since the development of the PWHL, it's kind of made me push myself a bit more than I probably would have, because now I know there's something after maybe junior or U18.
What the PWHL means to me and for what I hope my kids can see out of it is that women are there in the sport of hockey. They're equal. They're in the bright lights, they're on TV, building towards a career that they can sustain.
I had coaches when I first went over to girls hockey who almost seemed to kind of step back their expectations because we were girls. And so to find the coaches that would push you, those were the coaches that you really, really respected. As a coach, I just look at it, and every little girl that comes out onto the ice has that opportunity now. It's my job to make her know and make her believe in herself enough. For that one child that might be out there on the ice with us who's gonna go all the way, she can, and it's there, and we're there to help and support her. So it kind of makes it even more important to be a part of it.
Some advice I have was, if you see it, you can believe it, and you can do it. And so now that we have this league, it's something that when I was a kid, I'd always have to say, I wish, or I want to be in the NHL. And was that really obtainable? Not necessarily, but as a kid, that's all you could ever dream as a little girl. And so now to have these girls being able to dream about being in the PWHL, it's, you know, viable. And as long as you work hard and you love it and you have that passion, it'll happen.
If they could have one skill for me, I would say is just to love the game and love every aspect of the game. And whether that's, you know, your teammates, being in the rink, you know, when you go out for brunch with your team and you eat, you know, 700 pancakes, just love the whole experience. That's always been a big thing for me. I think that's the reason I do so much hockey, because all of it is fun for me and I love all of it.
One thing hockey has taught me is that, like, even when it gets hard, you just have to keep persevering.
Because of the PWHL, I want to work harder to push my goals.
The PWHL players on Toronto, when I'm older, I really want to be like them, so I can achieve my dream and just be a star.
And it's kind of nice because, like, girls, they can't go to the NHL because we're not boys. But, like, now I have a, not like a place to go, but a place to, like, look up to where, like, if I, like, since I want to be in the PWHL when I'm older, I have, like, I can now, like, I can be in NHL except for girls.
I think there was a reason why we chose Leaside, and it wasn't because obviously it was the closest team, but I think the community and the staff and just the people and my teammates and the players made it really special and made it worth it.
I have a couple of tattoos that are hockey related. On the middle of my back, in the center of my back, I have a Canadian flag held up by a hockey stick that has my number in it. In the house league I play in, I go all out. I said I'm competitive, I go all out, and somebody had complained about my pace of play in house league one time, and one of my teammates said to this person, well, she just really loves hockey. That stuck with me, and I got it tattooed on my arm. She just really loves hockey.
It's a terrific organization with some great leadership, great vision in terms of trying to get girls involved into the sport. But once you're in as a Wildcat, it doesn't matter what level you're or what team you're on, you're a Wildcat and you're a Wildcat for life.
That's just how I roll.
Thank you again.
A pleasure. A pleasure. Thanks, everybody.
It's been a long time coming.
It's been a long time coming.
It's been a
long time coming.
It's been a long time coming.
It's been a long time coming.
It's been a long time coming.
Here we are. It's been a long time coming.
It's been a long time coming.
It's been a long time coming.
My favorite player would probably be Morgan Riley because I've always liked him when I was younger because I had a crush on him. But that's why I'm number 44, and I've been number 44 like for a long time, ever since I found out who he was. And I'm a forward, he's a defense, but he's still like, it's just the way he is, and he's been in many interviews, and like he's such a good person and he's a fun person. Like I've watched so many videos of him, and it's like, I want to meet him one day. I never have, but I have his jersey and everything, and I have a really big obsession with him, so that would say he's probably my favorite player.
I look up to Cindy Crosby because I share the same birthday with him, so I don't know. I find that really cool, and he's kind of like my favorite hockey player ever.
Do you have a crush on Cindy Crosby like your sister has a crush on Morgan Riley?
What?
Was that a secret? I think I just left the...
I think it was.
Okay.
No.